Today we're going to learn about the topic that is the food and beverage, and the topic for the day is food and beverage catering establishment. So students, I would like to let you know this topic is also a part of the first semester foundation course in food and beverage service, that is BHM 111, as you can see, of your BSc Hospitality and Hotel Administrations. Okay. So before we start this topic, we would like to take a look what are the objectives. So by the end of this topic, you will be able to know the classification of the food and beverage establishment. It means that how many segments are there of food and beverage establishment in the society. Then there is a types of catering and food and beverage establishment with their examples. So what is an independent restaurant? What is a restaurant that go inside the hotel? So all this classification are there which we'll able to know. Followed by the next one is an operation type, which means that what is an operation process and system for each and every establishment, how they operate. Generally, the way a bar operates, obviously the way restaurant will not operate. So those are the system we'll learn in a nutshell. So please, people, just be ready and we'll start with the topic. If you take a look at the food and beverage service industry in our entire world, it has been classified under three major segments. The first one is a business-oriented segment, and under the business-oriented segment, you have got this classification. You've got hotels, restaurant, brasserie, bistro, pubs, everything. You know, the business-oriented establishment are those establishments where the primary source of income or the primary operation is nothing but serving of food and beverage. Okay, so the primary operation fact is this one. Followed by the next one, it comes under the industrial and corporate catering. The name itself suggests. So industry, corporate. Let's take an example. I am working in a Wipro office, and I also have a staff cafeteria. Over there, food and beverage also been served. Not generally beverage all the time, but the food is always been served over there. So those also have this classification. There is a cafeteria, there is a canteen, or we also call it as a school canteens. There is a packed food outlet, tiffins service, a very, very famous tiffin service that we can see in the city of Mumbai, the largest tiffin service network on the planet. Railways, airline catering. Now take an example of railways and airline. The major purpose of the railways or the airlines is not to serve food, but to give you the travel exposure. But if you travel, obviously you'll become hungry and your throat become dry, so obviously you need some food and beverage. So that's the reason food and beverage operation will comes under a very, very small or secondary operation in this area. Okay? And finally, the last one, you can take a look, that's the welfare catering or the old age home or the prisons and the disaster catering service. Over here, you can only able to find those areas. Suppose let's take an example, there was a flood, there is a terrible flood happened, we all know at the Kedarnath or we all know at the Kerala and all these places. Over there, lots of non-government organization. Let's take an example. There is a Bharat Sevasam Sangha, or there is something called Ramakrishna Mission. All these people came forward, raised their hand to serve the people, to serve the food. Okay, so that's how these areas are confined. So the primary operation of the welfare catering is not to serve food, but to help people who are in a very dire or in a very distressed condition, to give them food. Okay. So naturally now we will classify the market into another segment based on the choices of the customer. So let's take an example over here. My primary business in a hotel is to serve food and beverage. So obviously I need to have a huge number of options. So if I serving a biryani, obviously I need to serve a guest in a hotel a Lucknow biryani, a Hyderabadi biryani, a Thalassery biryani. If I am serving dessert, I need to serve the dessert or the sweet dishes from the different parts of the country. Because you need to have a more number of choice when there is a hotel or there is a restaurant. Because the primary business of this area is nothing but a food or beverage. That is why this area is also known as, very, very important students, it's known as a non-captive market. I mean, it is not bounded by any rules and regulation. So this is completely open for the guest. Guest is God here. Whereas if you take a look at this industrial segment or the corporate catering segment, you will find that this place is known as semi-captive market. Semi-captive market are the places where there is a choices are there. So let's take an example. I'm traveling on a railways IRCTC, and they comes to you and offers you that, okay, we have an option of non-vegetarian or vegetarian. In non-vegetarian, I've got chicken or egg. In vegetarian, I have got rice, roti and dal and all. You cannot ask them that, or you cannot ask them this question, sir, why the paneer is not available. So that you can ask in the business oriented but not in the industrial area. If you go for a lunch at the Wipro staff cafeteria, they will give you roti, rice or maybe sometime a small dessert. Let's take an example, gajar ka halwa. You will never ask them, sir, why there is no gulab jamun? Because it's a limited choice area. Okay, so that is why it is known as a semi-captive market. It means there is a choice, but the choice are limited. Either you go for veg or either you go for non-veg. Okay. Finally, there is something called welfare catering, and here you have got fully captive market. Here your hands or the guest hands or the customer's hand are completely tied. So whatever I serve you, you have to eat it. So let's take an example. I am a very flood-ridden people that is coming from the Kerala. So my house is gone, everything is gone. So I cannot expect an NGO organization to serve me a chicken dum biryani or paneer butter masala. If they're serving me khichdi, I'll obviously take a khichdi because I don't have any choice now. Okay? Because I'm not paying also. So these are the total segment of our food and beverage industry which is available in our society. Okay. Now after this, we will go each and every classification and we'll take a look what all these areas are, what are the examples of the different outlets and how they operate as per our learning objectives. So the first we'll enter into the business oriented catering. So that's the first one that starts with the hotel. You can take a look at the behind. That's the picturesque view of the world famous resort which is known as Uday Vilas, the Opera Uday Vilas, standing at the Udaipur on the banks of Lake Pichola. Okay. So now the hotel is a commercial establishment where you get a food and beverage, where you get an accommodation on an agreed upon deal. So let's take an example. I want to book to your hotel. I want to come to this hotel which is in Uday Vilas. The cost of the room over there is 20,000 plus taxes, which includes one major meal, that is breakfast. So that's how we need to learn this thing. It's a deal with you. You need to follow this deal. So under the hotel, there are lots of classifications are also there. Like there are different outlets of food and beverage inside the hotel. So we take a look at one by one. The first one that is coming to our eyes is known as a restaurant. A restaurant is a place where you can get all kind of food like beverage and also breakfast and also major meal. But what happened that the hoteliers take a look that all the customer coming to a same restaurant and the restaurant get completely filled up, and at the same time the restaurant is completely like packed with different guests. So they divide the crowd in a better way and also increase the revenue. They have classified the restaurant in different categories. The first category that comes in our mind is the theme restaurant. What is a theme restaurant now? So that's, once again, it will also serve you the food and beverage. But let's take an example. You are going inside an Indian restaurant. It's based on a culture. It's based on an ethnicity. So naturally, when you enter inside an Indian restaurant, you will find that the restaurants are over there. The cutlery, crockeries are on an Indian style. Let's take an example on a clay. Or you can see the food choices over there are completely Indian. You will not find a fried rice, or you will not find a roasted chicken or something like that we can find in the continental food. Okay, that's your theme restaurant. Then also there is something called coffee shop. Coffee shop, it's a concept basically started from the United States of United States of country, on where you can see that this restaurant is operated for 24/7 and 365 days. So what happens in coffee shop? You get all kind of major meal. Do not go with the name, or the name says that it's a coffee, doesn't mean it's only serve coffee. Yes, it is serve coffee and tea, but at the same time it is also serving your major meal like breakfast, like dinner, like also lunch. So that's how the factor for the coffee shops. Okay. Now, after coffee shop, there is something called fine dining restaurant. You know, the fine dining restaurant are the restaurant which is meant for the affluent class. You know, like a high profile business class segment, or the celebrities who are not pocket sensitive like you and me. Okay, because the cutleries over there and the entire setup over there is of a very high standard. The furniture and crockeries, everything has got a different status than the other two categories that we have taken a look in the theme restaurant and the coffee shop. So fine dining restaurant, there is a famous, world famous classification known as a Michelin star. So that also serves different kind of food and the beverage. So it's a classification style where they will find each and every cutlery, crockery maintain proper hygiene and standards. The next one we go, another type of outlet is bar. Needless to say, because everybody knows about bar, it serves the beverage, and also sometimes it also serves some like non-alcoholic, or also serves some snacks also. Okay. Then there is something called nightclub. Now remember one thing, in the bar you get a food and beverage, which is obviously light snacks, along with a very wall-mounted nice music that comes from a speaker. But when you go to nightclubs, the concept gets completely changed. You can find all kind of food. You can find all kind of. You don't find all kind of food. On 1 second, you will get all kind of snacks, and also you can get lots of different types of beverages and wines and everything. But there is a the energetic. The environment is very energetic, and at the same time, it has also got a very nice music. I mean, like live band or concerts are happening over there. So live music, somebody is singing or playing a musical instrument. At the same time, you are also helping. I mean, you are watching and also drinking at the same time. Okay, that's your nightclub, followed by completely same, but there is a difference. Now, in the nightclub, what happened? People always, after listening those nice musical instruments, they feel like dance, but there is no dance floor. So there is something called, next one we'll take a look, which is known as a pubs or discotheque. So pubs or discotheque is a place where there is a dance floor. People will dance over there. At the same time, they can also drink. At the same time, they can also have some light snacks. So exactly the same like nightclub, but the difference is there is an extra addition of your let's take an example of dance floor. Okay, so there is a very loud music, like we also have it in the nightclub, but the difference is that there is that music in the nightclub is live, whereas in the pub the music will be coming from a DJ, like a disc jockey, or it's coming from a big huge sound system. This is the basic difference between a nightclub and a pub. Okay, the food and beverage served in a very informal manner, but in a very courteous way. Okay, you will not find all those standards to be followed over there, but yes, obviously there is a standard for grooming, there is a standard for glassware, everything to be maintained, but it is not that very sophisticated like we see in the fine dining restaurant. Finally, we end up at the in-room dining or room service, the 24/7 and 365 days complete operational system, where the guests who are staying inside the hotel, mind you, this is a very important part. It is only serving to those people who are staying inside the hotel, जो hotel के अंदर रहते हैं. Okay, so for them you can only serve this operation only. So that is what I can say. All the major meals are served there, all the food and beverage are served there, but in a very personalized manner. There is no other guest, only you and the server who is coming from the room service department. Remember one thing, it's a round the clock operation. It's a very interesting thing to see. It's operating like a coffee shop. So in a nutshell, I can say that coffee shop is when a coffee shop is served in a room service, exactly the same. So room service is nothing but another version of your coffee shop. So coffee shop is an open area where you can go and dine and eat food, but whereas in room service, this is completely different, where the guest or the server will bring the trolley with the food and he will be serving inside the room only. Okay, right? So that's about the hotels. I mean, these are the outlets commonly available in the hotel. Now we enter to a larger areas of the hotel. It's called banquet. Banquet is once again a place where we can have lots of marriages, function, conferences and meetings. Okay. And now we enter to the another important segment of the banquet area, that is known as your convention center. Sometimes what happens that the banquet is a small area where you cannot accommodate more than 1,000 or 5,000 people. So that's the reason there is something called convention center. And you take a look at this like PATA, Pacific Asia Tourism Association, World Tourism Organization, G8 countries. When these big summits happen from different parts of the world, that time what happens that you need to take a huge area, a large area to accommodate all different types of guests. Okay, so let's take an example. There is a Hyderabad International Convention Center by Accor Group of Hotel. That is the largest convention center in India. It looks something like this. Take a look at this picture. You can take a look. That's how this area could be. So lots of large meetings and conferences, sometimes some music concerts can also happen over here. Okay, huge number of guests can come over here. And also at the same time they can dine. Then you go to the next one. It says that the grab and go. So grab and go is basically a very new concept that's coming from the US brand hotel. Basically, Star Marriott started this system. Grab and go is a situation where today the people become very fast. We want everything, so the people become very fast. We don't have time to eat food, so the food have turned from a regular food to a fast food. So how do you eat a fast food? And you need to work at the same time on a laptop or a computer. So you will go to this restaurant and you sit, and while working on a laptop, you will take a cup of coffee. At the same time, you can have some cold coffee and also some pastry and some burger and sandwiches. So this concept was recently started by Marriott Hotel and the Star Hotel. So if you go to JW Marriott AeroCity New Delhi or the Aloft AeroCity Hotel in New Delhi, you will find there is an outlet called Daily Baking Shop in Marriott. All the Marriott, if you go, you will find this thing. At the same time, if you go to Refuel, all the Aloft brand of Starwood has this concept. So it looks something like this. Take a look at this picture. So you can see this is the gentleman. It's just like a normal cafe, coffee day or a McDonald's shop. So the tables and the chairs, you can take a look. There is no table covers and all. It's informally set, but the serving is happening in a very nice and formal way. All the chefs are in a well groomed. So once again, the process is very informal, but the service happen in a very courteous manner. That's the most important part. Now we get out of the hotel and we learn about other catering establishment, which is not inside the hotel but outside. Take a look at the brand which I have already painted over here. You can take a look. That's known as a Furzi Cafe, a famous restaurant which is available anywhere in India. You can know it's one of the largest restaurant chain. Okay. Now you can take a look at this area. There is something called a food court. So food court is basically, if you go to a shopping mall, you will find the top floor there is a huge large counter where you can find all the foods from different parts of the country are displayed over there. You can go and you can place the order and you can serve them. Okay. So that's how it is. So you can see that all the outlets, suppose there is a KFC, there is a McDonald's, there is a Pizza Hut, there is a Domino's. Over here there is a Hyderabadi Dum Biryani, something like this. All will find in a single place. This happens generally in the mall. There is a kiosk also. You can take a look at this operation or this outlet. 3 sides is open, 1 side is closed, which means that guests can come from anywhere and they can pick up the food. Okay. Now, once again, do not expect anything like a biryani or dosa, something like this. You will only able to find small tidbit like a chocolates. You can find a small cup of coffee. So this kind of outlet or a kiosk has been designed such a way where you can find that this entire operation of the entire outlet is located on a middle of the airport. So let's say, for example, you have to go to catch gate number 3. You need to catch a flight from the Terminal 3 at the IGI airport. So while you are going to the gate number 3, you will find at the center of the road where you are going to the Terminal 3, gate number 3. Over there you can find that there is a small restaurant, or not a restaurant, small outlet is serving you coffee. They can serve you chocolates and all everything. That's called kiosk. Sometimes also in the big airports, you can go and drop a coin and you can get a can of Coke. It's an artificial intelligence concept where we can find. Okay. Next we go to the drive-in, a very interesting concept which has been now fully operated in India, where you can go to the McDonald's shop Now you can take a look, it's a huge McDonald's shop area where there is a one place known as a drive-through. So what happened that you come with your car, need not to sit on a McDonald's restaurant. You can just straight away go and place your order inside that drive-through area and take your packing, and you can straight go back from there. Now, initially this concept was started in USA, where you can take a look, there is a large screen where there is a nice movie is playing, and the guests or the people who are watching that movie sitting on the bonnet of the car, or maybe sitting inside the car watching the movie. At the same time, there is a wide range of shops like KFC, McDonald's, and all the other kind of food outlets are there. They can place the order from there. The waiter will come and serve. So that concept was not been that much of become popular in India, but this concept was utilized by KFC, McDonald's just to serve in a proper way through the concept of drive-through. Okay, off-site and event management. Yes, that's also very, very interesting. Outdoor catering, which we know. So let's take an example. There is a function ground and you need to organize a marriage. They will call event management company, and they will come and they will set up all your requirements. So the entire, you can say the event management, something like entire banquet of a hotel set outside the hotel. Okay, so all need to be planned properly, because if you miss one single thing, the entire event will collapse. In the hotel, if you miss one single thing, the store is nearby, you can go and pick it up and you can serve. But if you go to event management, which is happening outside the hotel, outside the city, and if you miss, let's take an example, a gas range, obviously you're not able to cook the food. That is the matter. We got a cruise ships, entire hospitality industry floating on the sea. You can take a look. That's the famous cruise ships are there who serve food and beverage. So huge number of guests comes over there. And this hotels, this cruise ships is so essential that it serves all the three major meals at the same time. It's got different restaurant. So in a nutshell, what is the difference between cruise ship and hotel? You can just say the cruise ship is floating, hotel is stationary. So that is the difference between a cruise ship and a hotel. Otherwise, exactly everything is same like a 5-star hotel. There is a cafe. So let's take a look. A concept of France, which has been started in different parts of the country, in India also. So the cafe concept is basically, you can take a look, there has to be a, the umbrella and the sitting arrangement completely outside. So the sitting arrangement outside, and you have to be a umbrella, then only you can able to eat the food. That's the basic concept behind the cafe. Okay. Finally, there is something called fast food restaurant. Need not to say anything, because all of us know about what is a fast food. When I talk about fast food, the thing that which comes on our mind is your McDonald's or KFC or Domino's or anything. These are also known as QSR, quick service restaurant. So if you go to a restaurant and you order for a paneer butter masala with the tandoori roti, it will take at least 25 minutes or 20 minutes to reach your table. But over there you can expect the food in McDonald's or